things sometimes, don't you, about like what people are really getting from this, when really if you, I don't even know if I can explain it. Sometimes you look maybe a bit hard, but it's because you're so soft and loving.
Well,
And
he's
uh
passionate. He's
yeah.
passionate in telling the truth, and he wants to wake everybody up. Yes, so wake up, guys. See, this is the truth. This is the real truth.
And with the knowledge you've got, it's almost painful to know so much and have that on your shoulders.
It's a burden. It is a burden put upon me, and I didn't really directly ask for it. I was asking for it by paying attention to all of the philosophical. I mean, I'll finish off with this. It's in my chart. You're seeing. You get what you see. What you see is what you get. With me, here is my chart.
Thank you, Santos.
And what do you notice about? Yeah. What do you notice about the 7th house? That's my chart.
Little bit to the right for you.
That's it. I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, you'll notice that in my 7th house I have Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, Moon, Venus, and Saturn.
My birth chart says that. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, well, what does that mean? I've got 6 of my 7 planets in the 7th house. Well, what does 7th house mean? Most people think partners, public enemies, lawsuits. But when you read, you'll understand why that house of mine is so populated. Bonacci said 800 years ago on the 7th house. And I'll close with this so you can get to know me a little bit better. Why is my 7th house so populated? Well, here he is on the 7th house. It signifies the pure and simplest culture of the deity, and all houses of philosophers, and the foreknowledge of things, and the science of the stars, and the diviner, and letters, and legates, and dreams, faith, divine wisdom, and health, and religion. And what does my syncretism deal with? Philosophy, divining, astrology, health, religion, religious science. Because I have 6 planets in my 7th house. All right, guys.
Yeah, Santos, and it's pure.
Well, it is. It's pure devotion to the deity, 7th house. Okay. Well, thank you.
You say all that and then you're going to leave us.
Yeah. Well, you guys can go on and you can add to what I've said, because I know you will, and I know you would have loved to have interjected. I know Matt would have put in a lot of great stuff. You know, series. There would have been places there for, you know, pictures, information, because that's what happens. But I think you should continue on, since I've got to go out now to the shops. Continue on and add to it and make a really good presentation of, you know, another 10 minutes or 20 minutes of good stuff.
I'm simply amazed about the huge amount of history you got actually from the beginning of it. Because most of before 1600 or 1500 is barely findable. At least,
yeah,
I haven't found.
No, there's not many places where you'll see the true records. They'll tell you that the Christians, they tell you that Nero persecuted the Christians, and that began, and then Domitian and all of those. There were 10 persecutions before Constantine, and they say that's what caused Constantine to officiate and make official the Christian church, because they had these famous 10 persecutions, all the way up until Domitian, I believe. which was the last of the Christian persecutions, but they weren't Christians. They were Gnostic Christians. They were Hellenists. Rome has always persecuted the same people, enlightened people. Sometimes they're called Christians, other times they're called pagans. It depends on which one's convenient at the time, right? Now it's against Islam and alternative thinkers, what we don't consider to be real news, and all of these alternative guys, and Islam. They are the two demons now. Anyone else? See, it doesn't matter. Nero didn't persecute Jesus Christians. He persecuted Christians which were called Christians as a label, a generalization for Egyptians, Babylonians, and spiritual people. Astrologers and spiritual people. They were just called Christian because, as the church fathers said, never was there a time when there was no such thing as Christianity. Since the beginning of time, there was Christianity. These are quotes from 2,000 years ago. You know, so for all the people who assume that I remember once I was in England. I was with one of these biblical literalist flat earthers now, and he said to me, Santos, some of your conclusions are a little bit tedious, don't you think? And I thought to myself, either you are 100% totally ignorant of my work but claiming to know it, or you are totally and utterly unconscious and stupid. Because as you can see, my work stacks up at every turn. All the dots have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed. I've cross-checked everything. I haven't published anything that's of my opinion or that is wrong, except for I used the globe model a couple of years back when I was a Santa Tard, and I used the wrong model, but I was still telling the truth, just using a wrong model to explain the truth. But it doesn't matter. It all stacks up. The point is, you won't beat me on etymology or history or study of syncretism. You just won't do that.
Santos,
and so, yep.
when you found like it as flat Earth, what did it mean with all your work then? What did it mean to you when you suddenly realised there was another twist on it?
It just all made more sense. I just went, after. I was just in ecstasy for months and months and months before I actually really came out with it, because you have to make certain, and you've got a certain responsibility. I'm not just Joe Blow, posting things about the flat Earth. I'm Santos Bonacci, who's considered to be a researcher, right? So that's all I say I am, a researcher. So if I say that I'm a researcher, I want to have pretty good research. And so I researched it, did the due diligence, as we all should, and came to the conclusion that my work was actually based on geocentrism, because I was using the Ptolemaic model anyway. You see me, you watch that video I did in Birmingham in 2013, in Brighton. You can look it up on my channel, and you'll see me pointing to the firmament, from the start. And I was reading all of the astrologers told me from the very, very start. But I was saying that Ptolemy was using the model of geocentrism, because thinking that he did that because of the order of the planet's orbits, Saturn being the longest in duration and the moon being the shortest. Hence, what they did was they placed the Earth on the bottom, and then Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, by order of their orbits. But now I realize, no, I was even saying the wrong thing by saying that. It was the true order. That there isn't a concentric order to the rings of the seven heavens above us. And as I did last week, showing how the Quran teaches the seven heavens. In the Quran, it teaches that God made those seven heavens and names them: Moon, Mercury, Venus, etc. in the Quran. And you can go back to last week's show titled Theology Explained. And so this will be a Theology Explained Part 2. And so it's all based on truth, not fact. Okay.
Santos. Can I just say,
Yeah.
FPV's got something to say to you.
Okay.
Sorry, Siri.
Yes, Santos. FPV. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just going to say thank you, mate. I showed you a presentation of mine in private a few weeks ago. You might remember it. Your words were you were gazing in awe at what I was presenting to you. I haven't actually shown it to the public yet. It's still ongoing. Well, I'm just returning the compliment, mate. I'm gazing in awe at the commitment and dedication you've put into your research. You know, you're filling lots of gaps in for me and everyone in chat. So a big thank you from all of us. And by the way, I've got more revelations to show you sometime, but it needs to be in private because I need to pick your brains a bit more. There's some bits you need to. Yeah, we'll organise it, mate. Don't worry.
Please do. Yeah. I enjoy the position I have, which is that I have the very best people like you guys, all of you, there sharing information with me, and it always ends up in my lap. The guy I quoted there in the PowerPoint presentation, Marsilio Ficino, who said that the sun is God, according to Plato, and vice versa. That guy there, he said to, rather, his student, Pico, who I've also quoted, who went to Rome in around about that time, the late 1400s, with 900 theses of syncretism, he said, divinity has caused certain books to fall into my lap. Let me tell you guys, the books that I've read, I don't know how I got those books, man. I really don't know how I got those books, but I got all the right books. I have never read one book on fiction in my life. Oh, no, actually I did. I was given to it when I went from primary school to secondary school. I was given a book. It was called The Seven Gates, something like that. And I read that. Apart from that, all I've been reading all my life is truth books. The Bible, scriptures, history, to try and nut out the whole lie, because I knew we were being lied to. I just knew it. I even knew that the Jehovah's Witnesses were lying to me. I never took their explanations of the book of Revelation literally. I never did. I can tell you that honestly. I had cognitive dissonance in those years. Their explanation of the book of Revelation is total bullshit. It's totally ridiculous. And so cognitive dissonance drew me out of that church. Like I say, churches are like tunnels. You go into them to get the hell out of them, get out the other end real quick, because there's darkness in the tunnels. The light is on the other side.
What I think about is the confusion of how we actually place the Earth as the center of the sky, of the celestial sphere in that sense. And what I figure is that we are ourselves always the center. And this astrology exactly works on your personal aspect in all the settings of it. And also the daily one. And that we confuse the center of it with the Earth instead of ourselves. And that what also takes away the focus of where it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. You see,
between heaven and earth.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, Santos, I think you'll understand it like this. A sun and moon group feel the same. It's a bit like, just when you think, another piece of puzzle comes, and someone else with something else, or some other experiment, or some other way of doing it, or someone's doing the stars, or Matt's doing what he's doing, and Series is doing frequencies, and yeah, so. And
we have to listen, and we have to listen to all these ones, because the bits are coming together really quick now, and we have to listen to each other and be inspired by each other, because we can't do it alone. I haven't done it alone. There's no way. You know, I've needed the forerunners that I had to study, you know, from the start when I first was awakened. All those videos I watched, you know, there was a lot of guys like David Icke, Jordan Maxwell, very important, crucial people. Obviously now we've sort of walked, you know, way past those beautiful researchers, and we've got information that they don't even contemplate. So, but we needed them, okay? Without them, we have to take our hats off to those guys. We have to say it's a collective thing that is going on, you know?
Yeah, which I try and share with you as much as possible, Santos, which is, I think, think is why you come back.
And this is why I say to people, don't get angry at my ugly face or my ugly passions or my, you know, creepy things, because what you're seeing ugly in me is exactly the same ugliness that you have in you. What you see beautiful in me is the same beauty that you have in you. We share it. We share the same source. So,
Santos, I love you.
and that's why,
Santos.
because you are love and I am love. That's why you love me. If I was hating and pretending all this, pretending to know this science and shilling on it and doing it with a false motive, and then that will be different. But because we are all love, we love each other and always will. We'll never be separated.
Santos.
Yep.
Let's play. I know why and how you got what you questioned about those books, about how you don't know how you got them. And you answer your own question through your own teachings. You know, your mind looking for research and truth sets things in motion. You know this.
Yep.
Your heart sets things onto the path, comes into alignment. You know this.
Yeah. Yep.
You know
we
this.
put our hearts and minds into alignment. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father Aries, the Son Leo, the ruler of Leo, and the Holy Spirit Gemini, the twins here, which rules the Spirit. So when we align the Father and the Son, Aries, where the Spirit is, and Leo, where the soul is, Aries, where the mind is, and Leo, where the heart is, then we align with the truth. You see? Aries
Santos, I think also people, you know, you get worried that people misunderstand you because people might say things to you, but you're doing this without an ego.
Yeah, in fact, I never get upset if people misunderstand me. I get upset when people understand the truth that I'm saying, because it is truth. I'm not going to be bothering with teaching bullshit. If I discover that I have, I will correct it, and I have done publicly. You know, I've had to apologize, especially with the Flat Earth awakening. I had to say to people, sorry, some people didn't forgive me. I apologize. I'm sorry, I used the wrong model. They didn't forgive me. They're gone. They're sticking with the globe. They love the globe. They love their Jesus. They've been offended at my saying that Jesus is real and true, but not factual and historical, but he is real and true. And I love him and worship him as well. They got offended at that. It's not good enough. So this is a closed mind. We will harm ourselves to have a closed mind. I really hope that at least one or two people of the opposite idea, which is the false idea that Jesus was historical, I hope that they lasted right down till now to know and to see that, to test that they do have an open mind enough to go this far. They may not still agree. They don't have to. It's fine. The truth is still there anyway. You might disagree that the sun is out there shining and brilliant and everything, and stay inside and refute that truth, but it's still there nonetheless.
Every day.
Yeah. So publicly, you'll see them in the chat saying, oh, yeah, Santos is rubbish now because he's a flat earther. Everything is said in his, before he was a flat earther, now has been disqualified and everything like that. Well, you know, this is what people who have a closed mind are doing. They're hurting themselves. They are further publishing and telling forth what is wrong, because no matter how much you say it, it still doesn't make the truth not be there. It's still there. And all of my presentations, they're still all there. They're still all free, and they still all say different things on the same subject, but all different.
And people don't understand that every time you do this, you're also giving away a part of yourself.
Yeah,
Freely.
and so every time they say Santos is speaking rubbish and they haven't watched the video, they're hurting themselves, because the truth is still there, proving that what they're saying is incorrect. It's so counterintuitive. It's just untold the damage that they are doing by closing their minds to researchers like myself, who also 10 years ago came to this understanding that Jesus is not literal. And at first it did, you know, wreak some kind of havoc in me. I had to adjust. So I was there where you are. I've been through it. I've been through the Santa Jesus, you know, but it doesn't exist. And the real Jesus that does exist is the eternal one, which never becomes mundane and temporal. And you will discover that anyway.
Did you just accept it, or did it make you sort of, I don't know if angry is the word, but shocked that this person or was a person Jesus was, but it wasn't like that after all? Did it sort of upset you, or were you happier?
A bit of both. Despite that, though, I just said, well, it's the truth. It doesn't matter, you know. It is the truth. There is a bit of both. There's a bit of delusionment, and then there's a little bit of happiness and relief, because now you're a step closer to knowing the truth, which we need to know. Spiritually, we do. We need to know who God is. We need to know this. And we need to get to know God to be saved. So we do need this information, but it's been told to us and literalized and reduced to the absurdity of literalism, and hence blocking us from knowing the true spiritual nature of God.
It really is.
Yeah,
Everything is the other way round. Everything.
It's all upside down. It all is. It's so beautiful to see these great researchers in churches calling themselves, you know, Christians. It's great. It's great, but it's the wrong kind. I'm just trying to help them to see that you're wrecking it for everybody and for yourself, because you need to know what Jesus really is, and
Yeah,
really understand.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It should all just click and fall right into place. Once you see it, it should bang. There it is. No question. Just the whole puzzle comes together. And Santos, while you're here,
and you know,
I'd like to ask your permission. I'm trying to get things set up. I'd like to mirror your videos. Could I have permission to do that?
You mean from going from the right to the left?
No, like if I were to do live stream, I would show your videos in my live streams.
Yeah,
Man.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure. Please do. Yeah. Show them from my YouTube channel, because it keeps the support comes back around, because there's a lot of channels out there that have got my stuff on there, right? A lot of channels. And that's good, because it's free. But if you show them from Mr. Astrotheology and always watch my new releases from there, rather than, you know, other people's channels, it supports me. And
yeah, directly from your channel. Yeah, directly from your channel.
Nice. Yeah, please do, man. It's not mine. It's not mine anymore. I've given it to everyone, so it's everyone's. And it was given to me. I'm just passing it on. So it ain't mine. Don't call it Santos's. You know, just say, here's a fellow researcher who's doing the same thing as I'm doing, and I'd like to show you his version and how he teaches it, and I'm going to teach you the same thing. Because you should be all able to teach what I'm teaching, the sine wave. You should all be able to do that. The more you do the sine wave every day, 10, 20 times, the more you will become totally an adept of the true science.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it doesn't take everyone. It takes someone, and you're someone, Santos. Sorry, it
Sure,
does.
some will be better musicians than others, of course. But then again, you know, that might be just the way of saying it. Unless you start doing it and embracing it and actually doing it, you know, when you go to have a coffee with your friend who doesn't know anything about astrotheology, you can say, look, here it is. This is the root of all of our churches. It's the root of astrology. Here's the sine wave. It goes like this. You fill out all these spaces. And then, because they might be better than you, and within weeks you might have created another syncretist on the plane, which will help to awaken humanity, you know, and you might have even done the sine wave wrong and put the wrong signs in the wrong place, but that person might have just gone, oh yeah, enough information for you to have planted a seed for that person to water and for it to grow immensely. So never, just because you think, oh no, well, maybe just Santos knows how to teach it, we'll just only show his videos instead of me doing it. Yeah, have a go. You watch what happens. The moment you're stuck in it is the moment that you are required to and demanded to actually perform and fill in the gaps. And because necessity is the mother of all invention, you are on the spot now. You put yourself on the spot. You do it, and you'll see. You will do it. You'll fill in all the blanks. You'll remember them from my presentations.
Well, I'm sure sometimes it gets a bit much, doesn't it? And you probably think, oh, I can't do this anymore. But then you know, oh, but I have to. I have to do it.
It's duty. You do have that duty. Yeah. For me, it's mostly about duty. It is a pleasure to share this, but for me, there is a cloud of duty somehow. I don't understand. I've always had it ever since I was little, that I had to fulfill a duty, a very important duty, and to serve humanity. As I don't know, it's like a burden, and it has been a big task to uncover what I've uncovered. It hasn't been just like easy breezy reading. I've had to.
Santos, you told us off. You told us off. Not presenting it right.
Man, I've had to hit myself on the head to concentrate on some of the books that I was reading, because I'm reading a paragraph and nothing would sink in. You know, I've had to beat myself to actually read these books, because I knew no one else is going to do it, and they're not going to find it because they don't want to. I want to, and I'm doing it, and I will do it despite the many, tiresome hours and requiring sleep and not getting it, and hitting myself on the head to concentrate more and more to get through the darn book. So, you know, you didn't have to sweat to get all that information. Possibly a lot of people will dismiss me. That's fine. Possibly more people will say, well, good on you, Santos, kudos, you're on the right track. And that's fine too. But what will prevail, people, is the truth. So what we discover and we know better than other people, for instance, Ceres, you know better than Eric in that certain area. He kicked you out. Well, you still proclaim that because you've done the research. You have done the research. You have the right. Okay. And what will happen is either it is absolutely true what you're saying and all will know the truth because it will prevail, or you will go correcting that as we go correcting things, and that truth will be known. But ultimately, now is the age of truth. You can see it. The moment some reporter reports bullshit, it's called out on YouTube. So that's why they have to clamp down on YouTube with their new censorship and inquisition, right? Because the bullshit is getting called out so quickly. They say it, someone calls it out. Whereas 10, 20 years ago, they'd say the bullshit, people would sniff it, smells like bullshit, tastes like bullshit, sounds like it, and it takes them about 10 years to twig. You know, but now, instantly, bullshit, 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 they can't get away with anything. They're trying all their desperate moves, you know, weather warfare, terrorist.
Yes, Santos, can I say something?
Terror.
Santos, if they get us looking at the past, it's all depressing and depressions and wars and that. The future looks quite terrifying with HAARP and CERN and wars and what could happen to us. And then they're destroying the present, you know, families with this sort of subversion they've got going. And it's all to stop you being in the now. Flat Earth's about being in the now.
Exactly. Why? Good question. Good point. Why is it that it brings us into the now? Because truth is in now time. Lies are in the past because they've got to cover up the lies of the past and the lies of the future. You can't lie about the now. So because we are inclined to truth, we're here at this hangout thinking, all right, well, maybe Santos has got another gem today, but if he has, I'm going to be around to listen and I'll be there. So you're faithfully there. I'm faithfully here with my part of the bargain. I said I'd be here. I said I'd have some goodies for you. You're there. You're listening. I can't do it without you because you put up the show. So everything's coming together in the now. It's like a synchronization of all of our truth-loving, truth-seeking, you know, answers. They're all coming together. And that's what the Flat Earth has done. It has created pools of intelligent beings coming together to celebrate truth in the now. That's why.